case now in Hunter Biden's trial on gun charges.
The prosecution has rested its case against Hunter Biden.
Witness testimony is underway in Hunter Biden's federal gun trial in Wilmington, Delaware. And this is the first time the child of a sitting president has gone on trial.
Is Hunter Biden guilty or not guilty? What if the son of the president were caught up in a whirlwind of controversy involving a missing gun and allegations of drug use?
I know that you cannot speak about an ongoing federal prosecution, but let me ask you, will you accept the jury's outcome, their verdict, no matter what it is?
Yes.
And have you ruled out a pardon for your son?
Yes.
Could a simple form be the key to putting him away for 25 years in jail? Buckle up for one of the most talked about trials in recent history. From the trash can behind a grocery store to the intense scrutiny of the courtroom, we're breaking down every twist and turn of the Hunter Biden Revolver trial. Stay tuned, because this is a story you won't want to miss.
Prosecutors then played this video for the jury, showing Hallie at a local supermarket ditching Hunter's gun in a trash can.
For those who don't know, Hunter is the son of President Joe Biden. You know, the guy who's in charge of the country. Hunter has had quite a life. He was born on February 4th, 1970 in Wilmington, Delaware. He went to Georgetown University and then to Yale Law School. Pretty fancy schools, right? Hunter's life hasn't always been easy. He's had a lot of challenges, like losing his mom and sister in a car accident when he was little. Despite that, he's done a lot of different jobs. He's been a lawyer, a banker, and even worked in a company that finds energy resources in Ukraine. Fame brings glamour and glory, and of course a lot of money. But like many other big shots, their lives are quite turbulent and often end up in trouble. Alright, let's set the scene. The year is 2018 and it's October. Picture a regular day in Wilmington, Delaware, where this whole saga unfolds. Hunter Biden, the son of President Joe Biden, is living his life when things take a dramatic turn. It all starts with Hunter and his then girlfriend, Hallie Biden. Now, Hallie isn't just any girlfriend. She's also the widow of Hunter's late brother, Beau Biden. So yeah, it's a bit of a complicated family situation, but let's stick to the incident. One day, Hallie finds Hunter's revolver in his car. She's concerned. After all, leaving a gun in a car is not the safest idea, right? So she decides to take matters into her own hands. Hallie takes the revolver and tosses it into a trash can behind a grocery store called Jansen's Market. You're probably thinking, whoa, why a trash can? Good question. She thought it would be safer there than in the car. Besides this, I really don't think it's a good idea to get rid of a .38 caliber Colt Cobra revolver. And why didn't it occur to her to at least ask her husband to put it somewhere else? Hey Hunter, maybe you should store your .38 Colt Cobra in a safe place in our house? Yeah, great idea. Thanks for asking, honey. You've saved me a lot of trouble. Anyway, things quickly spiral out of control. When Hallie and Hunter go back to retrieve the gun, it's gone. Panic sets in. Losing a gun isn't like losing your keys. It's a big deal. They report the missing gun to the police, and this is where things start to heat up.
She told the jury, "I didn't want him to hurt himself or my kids to find it and hurt themselves," adding, "I realize it was a stupid idea now, but I was just panicking. He would be agitated, high-strung," she said, saying she saw him with crack rocks the size of ping pong balls, adding that Hunter introduced her to crack. "It was a terrible experience that I went through, and I'm embarrassed and ashamed of that period of my life."
The police arrive at the scene. They start investigating and asking questions. During their investigation, they find out that the store's trash cans are right next to a high school. Now, everyone's even more worried because a missing gun near a school is a recipe for disaster. So, what exactly happened that led to the trial? Let's break it down. The police get involved as soon as the gun is reported missing. They search the area, talk to witnesses, and gather evidence. This isn't just a lost and found case, it's a serious situation involving firearm safety. Given the nature of the incident and Hunter's high-profile family, the FBI gets involved. They start looking into the circumstances surrounding the purchase and possession of the revolver. This means digging into paperwork and background checks. Here's where things get tricky. When you buy a gun in the US, you fill out a form called Form 4473. This form asks if you're addicted to any substances. Hunter bought the revolver from a federally licensed dealer, and on that form, he said he wasn't using drugs. However, reports suggest that at the time, he might have been struggling with substance use. If Hunter lied on the Form 4473, it's a federal offense. This is not just about the missing gun anymore. It's about whether he provided false information to buy it. The authorities need to figure out if Hunter was truthful when he filled out that form. News of the incident breaks, the media jumps on the story. It's not just about a missing gun, it's about Hunter Biden, the president's son, and potential legal troubles. This adds a whole new layer of scrutiny to the case. What's next? All these events lead us to the trial. The court needs to determine whether Hunter Biden is guilty of lying on the form to purchase the revolver. The stakes are high and everyone's watching to see what happens. Hunter Biden is facing some serious charges related to the revolver incident. The main charge revolves around the federal 4473, and that specific questions on the form that asks if you are addicted to drugs. According to the authorities, Hunter might have lied on this form. Here's the deal: Hunter allegedly checked no when asked if he was using illegal drugs. However, reports suggest he might have been struggling with substance use at the time. Lying on Form 4473 is a big no-no and is considered a federal offense. But what are the laws and regulations regarding firearm possession and usage? Here are the key points. Number 1, this is the form everyone must fill out when purchasing a firearm from a federally licensed dealer. It's part of the background check process. The form asks several questions, including if the buyer is using or addicted to any illegal drugs. Providing false information on this form can lead to severe penalties, including fines and jail time. Number 2, under the Gun Control Act of 1968, it's illegal for anyone who is an unlawful user of or addicted to any controlled substance to possess firearms. This law aims to prevent individuals who might be a danger to themselves or others from legally purchasing or possessing guns. Number 3, if someone lies on Form 4473, it's considered a felony. The penalties can be quite severe, up to 10 years in prison and hefty fines. This isn't just a slap on the wrist, it's a serious charge with significant consequences. Federal law prohibits anyone who is an unlawful user of or addicted to controlled substances from purchasing or possessing firearms. This means if you're using illegal drugs or addicted to them, you can't legally buy or have a gun. What does this mean for Hunter Biden? For Hunter Biden, the core issue is whether he was truthful on Form 4473 when he bought the Colt Cobra revolver. If it's proven that he lied about his drug use, he could face these severe penalties. The court will examine all the evidence to decide if he knowingly provided false information on the form. We'll have to wait and see how the court rules on these charges now that the trial has begun. In this highly anticipated trial, the prosecution and defense are set to present their cases in a dispute that has captured public attention. The prosecution aims to prove the defendant's guilt beyond a reasonable doubt, relying on compelling evidence and witness testimony. Meanwhile, the defense will vigorously challenge the prosecution's claims, seeking to establish their client's innocence and highlight any reasonable doubt. The cornerstone of the prosecution's case is Form 4473, the federal form Hunter filled out when he bought the revolver. The prosecution highlights the section where Hunter answered no to the question about using illegal drugs. They argue that this was a lie, and lying on this form is a federal offense. This form is crucial because it's a legal document that directly ties to Hunter's purchase of the firearm. The prosecution presents medical records showing that Hunter was undergoing treatment for substance abuse around the time he purchased the revolver. These records are intended to demonstrate that Hunter was indeed struggling with drug use when he bought the gun, contradicting his answer on Form 4473. Police reports from the investigation provide a detailed account of the incident involving the missing revolver. These reports include statements from Hunter and Hallie Biden, as well as details about the police search and the involvement of the FBI. The prosecution uses these reports to build a timeline and context for the incident, arguing that Hunter's actions were reckless and illegal. The prosecution brings in testimonies from law enforcement officers, medical experts, and gun store employees. Law enforcement officers testify about the investigation, while medical experts discuss Hunter's substance use. Gun store employees provide details about Hunter's behavior when he bought the gun, aiming to show inconsistencies in his statements. Seems they have a solid case, but what will be the key point for the defense team? Hunter Biden takes the stand in his defense, providing his perspective on the events. He explains his understanding of Form 4473 and claims he did not intentionally lie. Hunter talks about his state of mind during the purchase, emphasizing that he did not believe he was using drugs in a way that violated the form's requirements. The defense calls on friends and family members who testify about Hunter's character and his efforts to overcome addiction. These witnesses aim to humanize Hunter and provide context for his struggles, suggesting that any mistakes he made were unintentional and not criminal. While the prosecution uses medical records to show Hunter's drug use, the defense uses the same type of records to highlight his treatment and periods of sobriety. Medical experts for the defense argue that Hunter's addiction issues were complex and that he was actively seeking help. They suggest that his situation wasn't as clear-cut as the prosecution claims. The defense introduces evidence to suggest that Hunter may have misunderstood the questions on Form 4473. They argue that the form's language can be confusing, especially for someone dealing with addiction. This line of defense aims to create reasonable doubt about whether Hunter knowingly lied. What's your opinion? Should Hunter get sentenced? And is Hunter Biden already convicted by media? What do you think? Leave it in the comments. Mainstream media outlets like CNN and the New York Times have taken a cautious approach. They emphasize the seriousness of the charges and the importance of the legal process. These sources focus on presenting the facts of the case, including the allegations that Hunter Biden lied on a federal form and the details of the firearm incident. They highlight the need for a fair trial and suggest that the outcome should be based on evidence presented in court. Conservative media, including Fox News and The Washington Examiner, have been more critical of Hunter Biden. They argue that the evidence suggests he knowingly lied on Form 4473 to purchase a gun illegally. These outlets often bring up Hunter's past struggles with addiction, framing it as a pattern of irresponsible behavior. They call for strict enforcement of the law and suggest that Hunter should be held accountable if found guilty. On the flip side, liberal media like MSNBC and The Guardian tend to defend Hunter Biden. They emphasize his efforts to overcome addiction and argue that the case might be politically motivated. These outlets often criticize the scrutiny Hunter faces due to his father's position as president. They argue that addiction should be treated as a health issue rather than a criminal one, and that Hunter deserves compassion and support. Independent and alternative media sources, such as The Intercept and Slate, offer a mix of opinions. Some support the idea that Hunter should face the consequences if he broke the law, while others highlight systemic issues in how drug addiction is treated in the justice system. They advocate for a balanced view, acknowledging Hunter's struggles while also considering the legal implications. Also on social media, Hunter Biden Revolver trial has been a trending topic, with people from all walks of life sharing their thoughts. What are these folks are saying online about whether Hunter is guilty or not guilty? On Twitter, many users argue that Hunter Biden is guilty. They point to evidence like the federal form he filled out when buying the revolver. Users emphasize that lying on this form is a serious offense and should be punished. They argue that Hunter's high-profile status shouldn't exempt him from the law, with tweets like, "If it were anyone else, they'd be in jail already." On the other side, many tweets defend Hunter. These users argue that addiction is a complex issue and that Hunter deserves compassion. They suggest that the focus should be on his recovery, not punishment. Tweets like, "Addiction is a disease, not a crime. Hunter needs support, not jail," reflect this sentiment. Some also claim that the trial is politically motivated, designed to target Hunter because of his father's position. Facebook groups and pages are buzzing with debates. Those arguing for guilt share articles and videos detailing the case against Hunter. They believe the evidence is clear and that he must face consequences to uphold the law. Comments often reflect frustration with perceived double standards, such as, "Why is he treated differently just because he's the president's son?" Conversely, many Facebook users express sympathy for Hunter. They highlight his efforts to overcome addiction and suggest that prosecuting him could be counterproductive. Comments like, "We should focus on helping people with addiction, not punishing them," are common. Some also mention the broader issue of criminalizing substance abuse and advocate for systemic change. On Reddit, users in subreddits like r/news and r/politics discuss the legal aspects of the case. Those who believe Hunter is guilty often cite the legal requirement to be truthful on federal forms. They argue that the law should apply equally to everyone. Posts like, "If we let this slide, it sets a dangerous precedent," get upvoted frequently. Reddit also hosts robust defenses of Hunter. Users argue that his personal struggles shouldn't be weaponized for political gain. They emphasize the need for empathy and support rather than punishment. Threads often discuss the broader context of addiction and the justice system, with comments like, "This trial should be a wake-up call about how we treat addiction." And maybe more interesting, what's his father's opinion? As we all know that the president has expressed strong support for stricter gun control measures. He advocates for universal background checks, banning assault weapons and high-capacity magazines, and implementing red flag laws to prevent individuals deemed dangerous from obtaining firearms. It's an inconvenient situation for the president. Sure, a lot of people have their opinion on this one too. What are the possible outcomes of Hunter Biden's Revolver trial? It's essential to understand the different verdicts the court could reach and what each would mean for Hunter Biden and the broader legal landscape. What if he is found guilty? If the jury finds Hunter Biden guilty in the worst-case scenario, he could be held accountable for all 3 charges and face a maximum jail sentence of up to 25 years. However, especially for a first-time offender, it is highly unlikely that he will receive such a severe sentence. What if he is found not guilty? Yeah, of course, he could be a free man without any consequences. But due to the prosecution's case, it's unlikely that he will be found not guilty on all 3 charges. Additionally, being the son of the president makes this media case more complex, complicating the jury's task of reaching a verdict. Also, a mistrial could occur if the jury can't reach a unanimous decision, leading to a hung jury. In this scenario, the case might be retried with a new jury, or the prosecution could decide to drop the charges altogether. A mistrial leaves the legal question unresolved, prolonging the uncertainty for Hunter Biden and continuing to keep the case in the public eye. Regardless of the outcome, this trial has significant implications. A guilty verdict could prompt stricter scrutiny of firearm laws and enforcement, while a not guilty verdict might be seen as a victory for personal liberty and the right to defend oneself. A mistrial would likely result in continued media coverage and political debate, keeping the case in the spotlight. In any event, the conclusion of this trial will undoubtedly have a lasting impact on Hunter Biden's life, his family's political standing, and the broader discussion on gun control and legal accountability in the United States. So for now, we will follow the Hunter Biden trial and cover all the news. Subscribe to our channel and make sure you won't miss out the latest updates, and find also our gun review videos. Stay safe.